Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Scream Scene podcast. It's so funny. Usually it makes like this little noise and like we know we're rolling. I know I'm rolling, but it didn't do it today. So that little awkward entryway there. I don't know if it was awkward or not. Here to talk about my new movie, Cock Killer. C-O-C-K, Killer. It is not about a giant penis that goes on a killing spree. It is about a guy wearing a cock costume, and he goes on a killing spree. It's a comedy horror. I wrote this film. I'm directing this film, filming, editing, doing all the same jobs you guys know me to do. Every job pretty much except, I can't even say except acting because I actually act in the film. I like acting, dude. But I want to be behind the camera, so I never have a very long role in these films. I do have an idea for a film, scripts written and everything that I would like to star in, but, I don't trust anybody else to shoot my movie the way I want to shoot it, and I don't know if that's going to happen or not. So, we'll see in the future, but I'll say as of right now, I'm happy with playing small parts in these films. And you are going to get to see me and Cock Killer live, die, live. I'll just leave it out there for speculation. But I'm very excited about Cock Killer. It's my third feature film. And I am just so stoked to be able to be a functioning film studio right now and have two movies on Prime currently. Cock Killer will be my third feature film going to Prime in July of 2025. This is, really I owe it to my supporters from YouTube, from my other channel, Hunting the Dead. So a lot of people have always told me, like, Jody, you're actually really funny. Like, why don't you, make a comedy? And I'm like, I just want to do horror. And I was like, I could do a comedy horror, right? I do respect comedy. I like comedy. I've kind of secretly always wanted to be a comedian. Secretly, non-secretly. But, I sat down to write a script to see if I could come up with something funny. And instantly I was like, dude, this is going in a good direction. This is funny. This is bloody. This is gory. It's another slasher film. And, that's one question lately that's been popping up. A few people messaging me here and there just saying, hey, I'm just curious, is this another slasher? And yes, it is. And coming off the heels of Mallet 1 and Mallet 2, I just want to say, Cock Killer is nothing like Mallet. And it's beyond the fact that, Mallet's weapon of choice is a mallet. He is self-titled. He is self-titled after the weapon that he loves so dearly. I love what I consider a micro franchise, the Mallet, series that I've got going so far. The Nightmare Begins, The Nightmare Continues. But I will say that I'm super stoked about Cock Killer because there's no limitations on what the cock can use to do his kills with. I like the fact that you can have people laughing at one moment, and then just moments later, they're on the edge of their seat and they're like, oh my God, this is, brutally horrifying. And that dynamic really sold me on this. I was just visualizing what the outcome could be. And you never really know until your film's done if that outcome will be that. But that's what I was going for. That's something that I would like to see myself, something I would enjoy. And that's what kind of films I want to make, is the films I want to see. So we started production on Cock Killer this last weekend. I rented out a bank for the very first scene in the film. However, the scene doesn't take place in a bank. It takes place in an insurance company. I just found the perfect bank. Had the layout that I wanted and just almost was like, wow, I could just walk right in here and I could film this. This is perfect. And jumped through a few hoops to get it all set up. Got it done. We shot the first opening, the opener of the movie, the intro of the movie. And, there was a few things that were popping up at the last moment that Um, didn't make me upset, but like I was worried because like we initially had a long span of time, and right before the day we're about to step on set, 2 days before, like we were told like, hey, this is gonna have to be wrapped up. We're cutting some of the hours that you would have had. And I was able to come in a little bit earlier, but not everybody I booked was able to come in earlier. So I got 90% of everything that was on the script, but there was a couple things I had to cut or have to come back and shoot at a later date. And things change, people look different, and it's a low budget film. We don't really have the luxury of coming back sometimes. The first day on set, the budget for the whole film is $10,000. The first day on set cost us $1,000. So that kind of was like, well, we have to get this done today. We can't come back for the littleness of the littleness that we're missing here. So I kind of walked away, and I didn't know. I was just I felt like there was this unanswered question in my head if it was all going to be pretty much everything that I visualized. And I brought the clips in, I did some editing, and I started throwing it together and throwing in some sound effects and a little underscore, and I was surprised at how much better it was than what I initially had imagined. And it looks really, really good. It's a good intro for the film. It's got everything that you want when you're sitting down to watch a nice independent horror film. And I'm super stoked, man. And I got to be in the intro. So, that was really cool. I had some heavy dialogue, and I knew I could handle it. I was worried about finding the right person to deliver that dialogue, because when I was writing the part that I play, I was seeing me deliver the dialogue in my head. And at the last moment, I'm like, okay, I need to play that part. And plus, it gets me out of the film kind of, early on, because I may live, I may die. I'm not going to give any spoilers. But I think that, it was a way, it was like, okay, I know I can do it. I can guarantee that I can be behind the camera for the rest of this film. And this just works. So very excited that I got to be in my own film, that I was able to pull a rabbit out of a hat, and not only pull it out of the hat, but really, knock it out of the park. I mean, anything we ever do can be better. I see little things like, oh man, I could have shot this way, but ultimately, it looked better than what I initially, like when I wrote it, what I visioned in my head. It looks a little better than that vision. And I'm like, that's awesome. And sometimes you don't really know until you show up to set how things are going to change. You can try and always make your dreams come to life, but sometimes the dream looks a little bit different when you get there. Sometimes it's you that's wanting to see it a little bit different. Sometimes you want it to change. And we all say, hey, we're going to stick to the script. But, this was a perfect example of how, not being able to stick to the script 100% was actually okay. And, and like I said, we got 90% of it. There was just a few things we had to cut. We're getting right down to we filmed to the very last minute. We had no time left on the clock. Like, we were all walking to our cars after I yelled cut, like we had to be out of there, and we were all walking to our cars 10 minutes later, stuff packed up, and we were all leaving the parking lot. So talk about cutting it close, but I'm super happy with it, and I would not reshoot it again. So that's a great moment. So that's where we're at with Cock Killer. Now, for a lot of people that are asking, like, So what is this Cock Killer about? I'll give you a quick little synopsis. So Jim, it's his first day on the job. He is the new sign twirler, sign spinner for Cock-a-doodle-doom Insurance Company. And he's doing a terrible job. He's not cut out for... And first off, that's a miserable job. I know people that have done it. Imagine putting on a hot ass costume, going and standing out in the heat, spinning a sign. You're not standing there thinking to yourself, man, I'm living the freaking dream, right? So, Jim's, he's basically, he's having a terrible morning. He doesn't like the job. Then his boss comes out and chews him out. And then he goes in the company and he's getting into it, with others. And ultimately, it just kind of clicks like, I'm going to go on a killing spree. And what's funny is I not a killing spree necessarily, but I know people that I've seen people blow up on the job before. I even remember this one time when I was a teenager. I had been making actually really decent money and something came to a halt, and what I had been doing to make money was not there at that moment. So I was going to try something else, and I got this job at this place. I won't disclose the name of it. But I walked in and I'm like, okay, I'm going to be dealing with customers, customer service, and dealing with money and managing and things like that. And they were like, hey, I need you to get in there and clean the bathrooms. I'm like, I just walked through the door. I hadn't even clocked in yet. It's my first day on the job. And I was like, fuck you. I'm not cleaning no fucking bathrooms. And I walked out. I didn't go on a killing spree, but I definitely gave him a little piece of my mind. I felt offended. I felt disrespected. And I remember my mom telling me, I was a teenager, and she was like, "That's just what some people have to do, Jody." And I'm like, well, you're right. But, at that very moment, I'm like, you couldn't say like, hey, how you doing? This is how you clock in. This is what you're going to be doing. Today we're a little short. Can you clean the bathrooms real quick? It was just like, all right, go clean the bathrooms, then come find me. And I'm like, fuck you. So, that didn't inspire the script any, but like, I think what is inspiring, underneath, the dialogue, underneath the script, is that there's some realness to that situation where you're doing a job that you're not happy about. People are breathing down your neck. They're telling you how bad you're doing. And you're like, I don't want to be doing this to begin with. I hate this. I'm just trying to, make some money. And so there's a realness there that exists, and I think that's really cool. So, but the cool thing about the film, what's the coolest of the coolest, is the fact that you're able to tie comedy and funny moments in whenever it seems like it shouldn't be funny, and there's something that's funny about that, and this script just flowed like water. When I sat down to write it, I didn't sit there and draw a web. Not that I do that regularly anyway, but I have done that before. I'm like, okay, this is the character's name. I'm going to call him Mallet. His weapon of choice is going to be a mallet. He's going to wear a duster. He's going to wear a burlap mask. This, draw this web, and then sit down and write a script. I've done that before, but like, what I did was I just sat down and I just visualized a guy in a cock costume. And I'm like, I don't think that's been done. I did some quick research real quick. And I hadn't seen anybody that was a slasher wearing a cock costume. So, I just started writing. And before I knew it, I had like maybe 177 pages of script, dialogue, and scenes. And I'm like, whoa, okay, I got a feature film here. Is this worth making it the next jump? Is this the next thing? And we gotta, even though our pictures at Dean's Haunted Mansion Film Studios are low budget pictures, micro budget pictures, $10,000 a picture. We never go over, we never go under. We make sure all the money ends up on screen. Even though that's a small amount of money, we still want to make sure that it's worth taking the gamble on something, because, they're only $10,000 because I'm doing tons of work. I'm filming these things, I'm editing them, I'm doing the lighting, I'm scoring the music, the soundtrack. I'm even designing the covers. I'm doing the special effects makeup and all the special effects, and casting the things, and costume design. Like, I'm doing 101 jobs. And don't get me wrong, there's people behind the scenes that are helping me Alicia's helping me with the legality of, making a film. She's making sure that location releases are done, talent releases are done. She's making sure that, permits are pulled and that we're not doing anything we're not supposed to, so nothing backfires on us in case it is a success. The kids, when they're not acting on set, they're helping wherever they need to help at. On this film, we've hired on a new, you could say, a part-time employee to be our boom operator when we're on set. So, Jared, welcome aboard, Jared. But no matter how small, no matter the amount of money, you still want to make sure that you're not just wasting money on something you don't believe in. So I kind of talked with the family and the actors I had told I was going to put in my next project. And I said, well, I got this thing, Cock Killer. And, I think it's funny. I think it's got some real horror to it that the horror community will enjoy. This is a film that I believe needs to exist, and I would tell people a little bit about it, and they would get very excited, and they would say, man, that sounds really funny. I started to get jacked. People got me jacked, and we jumped in, and now it's rolling, and I'm super stoked, man. Like, we're an hour and 10 minutes away from finishing this whole movie. That's crazy. It's going to be an hour, 20 minutes runtime, and we've got the ball rolling. I'll probably be done with it by February 1st, March 1st at the latest. The film's going to be out in July. It's going to be on Prime. It's going to be on DVD. I got a standing relationship with Prime, and I really enjoy being with them, honestly. So I'd like to stay with them as long as I can, assuming that all my films get accepted. And I think at this point I know what they'll accept and what they won't. So I'm confident in knowing, like, Cock Killer is definitely going to be on Prime. There's no doubts in my mind. It's going to be a great, funny, bloody slasher film that, again, I feel needs to exist. And I don't want to give too much away about the script because I want you guys to have something to look forward to. But for anybody out there that's not following the Cock Killer Facebook page, you can go to Facebook and put in Cock Killer. You're going to see it. Or go to cockkiller.com. It'll take you to the Facebook page. Got that web address forwarded there. And just support across the board, man. You can watch some behind the scenes. As we go along, I'll be posting that kind of stuff. I've already posted some stuff, pictures, etc. And I just try and, I try and build a fan base as we are making these movies. I did it with Mallet, and it worked. The first Mallet movie just did phenomenal. The second one has done really good. And, people have got to see the process from the beginning to end. Maybe not all of it, but enough of it to make them feel like, oh shit, I'm kind of a part of this. You know what I'm saying? I'm a part of it. Like, I've watched it grow from a baby to what it is now, and I think that's a cool thing. As I'm a horror supporter myself, horror lover, lifelong lifetime horror lover. Trying to find those right words because it is very important to me. I watch horror films every night before I go to bed, even if I'm so tired, man, and only get 10 minutes into it. Like, I've just it's gotta be a part of me and what I do. And, I'm super stoked to be doing what I'm doing. So yeah, definitely follow, guys. And, if you're excited for Cock Killer, let me know in the comment section, below here. Let me know if you were excited about my last two films. What film you liked better? Did you like Mallet 1 better than Mallet 2? Mallet 2 better than Mallet 1? Do you think you're more excited to see Cock Killer than you were the Mallet films? And that's okay. I'm not somebody that's easily offended in that aspect. I have my favorites, like one of my favorite films of all time is Wrong Turn 4. I rarely meet somebody that knows what Wrong Turn 4 is. But I can guarantee you, like when you talk about horror, Wrong Turn 4 is horror. Smile 2 is horror. And these are films that, I'm inspired by, that, they have everything that I look for in a horror film. And that's one thing when I sit down to write a script is I think, what do I want in a horror film? And that's usually what I start with is getting to that meat and potatoes that I myself want. I'll never write something that I wouldn't want to sit there and watch, because at the end of the day, like, yeah, you gotta do something you love. If you truly do something you love, then yeah, like everybody says, you never work a day in your life. That's fine, but you're not gonna put no passion and no effort and no original creativity into it if you don't really care. So, when I'm making these films, yes, I want to make them for the people that want to see them. But the most important thing to me is I'm making something that I would want to see. And I know if I would want to see it, there's somebody else out there that would appreciate it as well. So, yeah, thank you guys so much. Smash that thumbs up, comment below, share this on social media. Cock Killer coming July 2025, guys.